Hello trainers! We're back! After drawing every single Gen 1 Pokemon and every single Gen 2 Pokemon, I'm continuing my series and finally moving on to Gen 3, so you can stop asking about it now. I'm drawing every single Gen 3 Pokemon with a new type. And yes, that includes Pokemon like Zigzagoon, that already has another form, in this case a Galarian form. And there are 135, I think, Pokemon in Hoenn. I'm not sure, I might be wrong. But anyway, there's a lot of Pokemon in Gen 3, so I've got a lot of drawings to make ahead of me. A lot of them. So, a quick summary of my guidelines. 1. All new types are randomized, so I have no idea what new type any Pokemon is gonna get. Sometimes they make absolutely no sense at all. That's part of the chaos and fun. 2. Kind of obvious, but Pokemon in the same evolutionary family all get the same new type. 3. I may treat a new type as a fully new type or as a secondary type, making the Pokemon like a dual type Pokemon. And 4. No overthinking. Bad ideas are welcome. Head empty. I usually just stick with the first idea that pops into my head, because if I spend like an hour actually thinking of really elaborate, smart designs, that's like 130 hours for every Pokemon that I'm just wasting on thinking rather than drawing. And this time I would like to encourage everyone who watches the video to pick a Hoenn Pokemon from this video, randomize a type, and draw your own regional variant for it. Because after all, I started this series, the Kanto one, as an exercise of creativity, so it would be fun if some of you guys wanted to join in and be creative. And if you do, you can tag me on Twitter or Instagram and I'll retweet or post it in my stories and whatever. And if you're fast enough, I might include it in the next part of the series. I'm kind of not expecting anyone to be fast enough or to even join in. But if you do, that would be very fun. Okay, enough talking, let's get started! The first Hoenn Pokemon, Trico, and the randomized type I got was Ice. I can't think of any logical reason for a cold-blooded reptile to become an ice type, but it's Pokemon, so I just made it like a straightforward ice type. Removed the grass elements, kept it more lizard-like. Ice Trico is a very playful Pokemon. It loves playing in the snow and easily gets attached to humans and or other Pokemon it plays with. And then I just kept the same lizard line of thought for Grovyle, and the same for Sapphire really. And I gave them both claws that are a little bit more ice pick-like, because it climbs around in ice. Humans use them a lot to traverse the icy, snowy areas they live in. They're pretty friendly Pokemon, so they're great as a starter Pokemon. And now is the time I reveal that I'm actually doing a new thing this time. I'm not only drawing every single Pokemon, I thought, how can I give myself more work? Not only do all of the Pokemon, but also give them all shiny versions. So for the Trico line, I made them greener to kind of obviously reflect their typical green Trico color. And next up is the fire starter, Torchic, and the new type is Fairy. I figured I could use some real-life birds as inspiration for it, because I thought that would be fun. So for Torchic I gave it pretty like soft colors, because I thought that would be more fairy-like. I didn't mean for two starters in a row to be kind of white, but here we are. So Fairy-type Torchic lives in treetops, but it can't fly, so this results in them falling down a lot, but since they're super light and fluffy, they take no damage at all from it. They even jump down on purpose because it's fun. Then it evolves into Combusken. Combusken loves to jump around and it just jumps around the trees looking for berries to feed Torchic. So people who see them often mistake it for flying because they're jumping from tree to tree like above them, but it can't actually fly. And as you can see, I didn't keep the light fairy colors. I thought following the real-life bird colors was more fun. So if you just look at it, it probably doesn't really read as a fairy type. But whatever, such is life. And then of course we have Blaziken. Blaziken is more aggressive than the previous two. They're known to ambush people and Pokemon from far up by jumping down on them. And it fights mostly by kicking, because it's a very leggy Pokemon. But they're not aggressive because they're evil, it's because they're very territorial. So for this reason they're also really great to keep as guard chickens. Guard chickens. Like a guard dog, but it's a chicken. And shiny versions also made the mimic birds. Next is the water type starter, Mudkip. And the new type is Poison, and yes, I do like Mudkips. Mudkip is really spoiled. It only wants to play if it gets to play on its own rules, and if you don't agree with it, it will just poison you, so everyone just lets it get away with it because it's really cute and they don't want to get poisoned. Unfortunately, that means when it evolves into Marshtomp, it kind of goes overboard a little bit, and Marshtomp is very typically kind of a bully. It just does whatever it wants, it doesn't really listen to the trainer much, or just poison anyone who disagrees with it. super spoiled. And then it evolves into Swampert, and Swampert is not quite as spoiled, but very overconfident. It can really be a difficult Pokemon to train, if it still has that spoiled mentality, but if you actually get to train it properly, it's a great Pokemon, because it's so confident in battle, and it always does its best. And the shinies are blue, while still keeping purple elements to have a sort of poison type tie-in. Moving on to the next Pokemon, which is Poochyena, and the new type is Ghost. So Poochyena is a very territorial and aggressive Pokemon, but only specifically towards other Ghost-type Pokemon. If you're not a Ghost-type, it's actually a quite nice Pokemon. It's quite sweet, but it looks kind of aggressive, so people are a little bit like scared of it. And it evolves into Mightyena. Here my idea was, since Poochyena is wearing a skull, that Mightyena could like wear the white sheet, but it's actually its fur, but it's supposed to evoke the feelings of a white sheet. Like the classic ghost look. They're actually very lonely Pokemon. They don't live in packs, they typically live alone, and they spend all night just howling aggressively. So people get scared of them because it sounds scary and sad. And the shinies are lighter to be a little bit more ghostly. And instead of purple, we have a more reddish color, which I think also makes them look more scary, ghosty. Quickly moving on to the next Pokemon, which is Zigzagoon, and the new type is Grass. So Grass Zigzagoon is very lazy. Unlike a regular one that just runs zigzag over everywhere, this one kind of just slowly walks everywhere in a zigzag pattern. And as it walks around, pollen and seeds get stuck in its grass-like fur and they start to grow, so it always has flowers growing. They blend in really well with nature, so they're kind of hard to spot. So they kind of don't need to run away because people don't really see it anyway. They think it's grass and flowers. And it evolves into Linoon, of course, which is a lot faster. This one actually darts around, but it still has the flower growing on its back, and it's a very friendly Pokemon. The shinies are a little more of a sort of a yellowy brown tone. I kind of wanted it to be more autumn colored, while the regular ones are more summer colored, and that's it. Moving on to a big Pokemon family, it's Wurmple, and the new type is Psychic. So Wurmple, I made it look like it has a little witch hat, and it has a spot on its forehead that looks like a third eye. It's not a real eye, probably, we don't really know, maybe it is. Can it see from it? Who knows? But its psychic abilities comes from the fact that it's able to see into the future using a crystal ball, except the crystal ball is actually dewdrops. So every morning it will get like a dewdrop and it will just look into the future and see what's going to happen. For this reason, it's a really popular Pokemon, especially among young girls, because they want to see into the future and like predict what's gonna happen in their lives. And it's going to evolve into either Cascoon or Silcoon. And these two aren't very different from their regular forms, except you can see one of them still has the eye in the forehead, and the other one has an eye, but it's closed. How exciting! Wow! Okay, let's see them when they evolve. We're starting with Dustox. So Dustox has the ability to predict the future, and you can see the future in the wings. The wings are actually mimicking like a star chart, and you can tell the future from the position of the stars. So every Dustox has a unique pattern because the futures they saw were of course different because they all like looked into different things. They're extremely popular Pokemon because they're so star-like and pretty, and also because you can see into the future, which is cool if you only know how to interpret the wings, which most people don't, but they like to try. And the other option, of course, is when your Silcoon evolves into Beautifly, and Beautifly is able to predict the future through dreams. So Beautifly probably has the same ability as Komala, so it's kind of perpetually asleep. Not really, but it is. You can see from the third eye on its forehead, so it's still aware of the surroundings. So like I said, it predicts the future and its dreams. It can see the future, and then it can wake up and tell its trainer if it understands Pokemon language, which nobody really does, but it can tell the future. I thought it would be really cool to have both of them be based on future sight, seeing into the future, but in different ways. So I'm just gonna give you all of the shinies at once. Here they are. Next Pokemon line is Lotad, and the new type, Ice. So Ice Lotad has a frozen leaf on it instead of just a regular leaf, and this leaf is virtually indestructible. A Beartic could like step on it and it would just be completely unharmed. Because they're able to just travel across ice completely safely. They're often used by both humans and Pokemon to like step on them. so they can help them like travel on ice. You can even like put one on each foot and sort of skate over on them, and it doesn't harm them at all, and they're happy to help. And then of course it evolves into Lombre, and Lombre is a bit tired of everyone just stepping on it all the time. So Lombre is kind of an antisocial Pokemon. It just likes to skate as far away as it can on its claws. Just kind of live in solitude away from everyone else who just stepped on them when they were a Lotad. And then it becomes a Ludicolo. Ludicolos kind of live in packs, but they don't like outsiders. They don't like other Pokemon. They just live in their little Ludicolo packs. The inspiration here was kind of a snow-covered tree. And I also gave it a tree on its head because it looks like a pineapple, you know? So I thought it would be fun to sort of keep some kind of plant element. People often mistake them for trees because they like to just kind of stand still in groups. But yeah, we have the shiny versions here as well, of course. Shiny Ludicolo, of course, looks even more like a tree because it's green. And these are actually all the Pokemon for part 1. Join in the challenge and draw your own Pokemon. Just like tag me on Twitter or Instagram, and I will put it in the next video if you're in time. Let me know what you thought about the new Pokemon, if they're really stupid and don't make sense, or if you like any of them. Thank you for watching and liking and commenting and subscribing and all of that. Bye!